Welcome back, guys, to module 3 of day 3. This is the last official module of the course, guys, right? Now, of course, we're going to have day 4, which is basically you guys putting everything together, but of actually, theory, learning, etc. This is the last day, so I'm really, really excited to get into this. We are going to be talking about ads monitoring and optimization. And to be able to do that, you need a great understanding of all the different key metrics. So, ads monitoring. You must monitor your ads on a daily basis. You must make it part of your routine to log in and check your campaign every single morning. That's because there's 1,000 different things that can go wrong, and you must be, making decisions in real time, and etc. So I'll discuss some of those details about what can go wrong in a minute and what to do for when it happens. So first, we got to understand some of the key metrics. So reach. What does reach mean? So reach, this is the number of individual people who saw your ad. Impressions is different, and people often get confused between reach and impressions, but reach is the number of individual people who saw your ad. Impressions is the number of times your ad was on a screen. So impressions may include multiple views of your ad by the same people. So if we use some really easy numbers here, right? If I showed an ad and you saw it, right? If you saw one of my ads, well, I would have reached one person. But if you saw my ad 10 times and you were the only person that saw my ad, I'd have 10 impressions, right? I only reached one person, you, but you saw my ad 10 times, so I got 10 impressions. Does that make sense? So reach is number of individual people. Impressions includes multiple views of the same people as well. Frequency, this is the average number of times each person saw your ad. Frequency equals impressions divided by your reach. So all these 3 metrics are all interlinked. You can actually always find out the number to one of these, even if you only had 2 of them, right? So, if you had, using that example, if our ad reached, my ad reached one person, you, right? But so reach was 1, but the frequency was 10. Well, that means I know 1 by 10 is 10, so I got 10 impressions, right? These 3 numbers are all directly interlinked. It's just good to know that. But yeah. CPM, what does CPM mean? This is really important, actually. So CPM stands for cost per 1,000 impressions. This is really important because the higher this number is, the more expensive all of your results will be. Okay, the higher the number is, the more expensive all of the results will be. It's your cost of advertising with Facebook. So if we talk about Ireland here, we have clients in the big cities, whether it be Cork, Galway, Dublin, and then we have clients in smaller towns, such as Tullamore, Skibbereen, etc. And the cost of advertising is just more expensive in these bigger cities because there's more businesses there doing advertising in that area, because it's bidding, there's only a certain amount of people and that are there, and every business wants to show their ads to all the people. So there's more businesses advertising, there's more people as well, and typically more seen as affluent areas, and therefore more businesses, even international businesses, are targeting these big cities to show their ads there because it's more likely people with money to spend there. CPL, that stands for cost per lead. Closing ratio, so this is your total amount of leads closed divided by your total amount of leads, e.g. if you 10 leads and you close 4 of them, it's 40% closing ratio. CPA, this is your cost per acquisition of a client. So it's your ad budget divided by the amount of leads closed. Really important to know how much you need to spend to get a new customer. So, it's kind of a fake situation, but let's say it's Friday and you're like, oh my God, I wanted to get one client every single day this week, and I did naturally get them every day, Monday to Thursday, but I want to get a client on Friday. You go, okay, I know what my CPA is. My CPA is 20 euros, so I'll just put 20 euro on Facebook ads and I can get a new client. Now that's a fake scenario. It's never how that would actually work, but it's good to know how much you pay to get a new client. It helps understand the profitability of your advertising campaigns and if it is worth it. So yeah, cost per acquisition of a client is an interesting and important stat. So your ROAS, or OAS, people say that as ROAS, is your return on your ad spend. It's your total sales in euro divided by your advertising budget, e.g. 2,000 euro sales divided by a 500 ad budget is a 4x ROAS, or a 100% return. So we've got to look at the screenshot here, because in order to make sure you can see all of the key metrics that you want, you have to make sure that you customize the columns in your ads manager. So I'm going to do a live version there. I'm going to jump over here into the ads manager. And unfortunately, this isn't going to have many stats because this campaign, you know, it's the demo campaign we made. It's not live. But you can see here, if I just, these are all your stats and you can scroll across, but there's so many not there. I'm going to make this smaller just so you can see something. So, you know, is your ad delivering? Is it on? Are these off because it's a demo fake ads? Bid strategy, your budget, attribution setting, results. So how many leads did you get? They would populate here. And what you do is you choose, obviously, you know, your time period you want to view your results for. But here are your columns. So our columns are, you know, these listed above. Results, reach, impressions. You can see frequency isn't there. Amount spent. We don't have the CPM either. So what you do is you just click on your columns and you can view it in different ways. So if it was a video ad, you can click video engage and you can see, you know, the cost for the views on the video and how many people, 25% or 50%. But what you're going to do is go to performance. It's the best place to start from, and then scroll down and click on customize columns. And so now you actually get all the different options that you do to create these columns. And there is a lot of different things you can do. Look, the ones that are ticked are what's on our screen there, but there's so many unticked. And now so many of these are irrelevant to you, most likely are irrelevant to your campaign, but some of them will definitely come into play. So some critical ones that you should definitely have on are frequencies. So I'm just going to tick that. And there's other ones you can look into, the clicks and stuff like that, but CPM is extremely important too. There are two main important ones that are missing for the lead gen campaign. When there's no video being used or anything like that, you need video views, but if you're using one, you should check that out too. And there's loads more. What I'm gonna do is I added the two more important ones we're talking about, frequency and CPM. I'm gonna save that as a preset by clicking this tick here. You have to scroll down, by the way. Sometimes like, oh, I can't get to the bottom. You might have to, you know, scroll down here, or sometimes zoom out of your screen. So, you know, then you can see everything. But save as a preset, and I'm going to call it just call it custom preset. It doesn't really matter. And then click apply. Right, and now everything's going to be there. So I'm going to zoom back in 100% view. But now, the very end, we're going to frequency and CPM. Now, I don't personally like them being at the very end too much. I like my frequency to be with my reach and impressions because they're all connected. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to zoom out just so I can make sure I can get everywhere. I'm going to click volumes, and I'm going to go on the right here where all the columns are, and I'm going to take frequency, and I'm going to drag that up so it's by my reach and my impressions. I'm going to just make sure to save that as the preset, apply, and replace what we just done. You can also, you know, set it as default so it always pops up. It's important. Get reach, impressions, frequency there, and of course the actual numbers, like I said, would be filled in here if this campaign was live. But this is a test campaign, so everything is 0, 0, 0. But yeah, that's how you customize the columns and get access to more analytics. So, ads optimization. Let's keep going. When monitoring and optimizing your ads, it's important not to make any decisions too quickly. Okay, you don't pull the trigger too fast. Facebook needs time for its algorithms to work. Sometimes things will start slow and then pick up over time. Sometimes your campaign will have good days and then it'll have some bad days, and you might go, oh God, it's all going bad, but then there'll be good days again. That's the way it goes sometimes. It's a good idea to give something at least 3 days before making any changes. As a general rule of thumb, especially if you're doing a campaign over the course of, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, 3 days is a kind of good amount of time there to consider. Now, budget matters as well. If you're spending loads of money, you have a big budget, well, then you can take that into consideration as well. So there's no golden answer here, but typically you want to give something a couple of days before making any changes. You must also consider that results over the weekend might be different to results during the work week. Okay. And I would advise having your ads running 7 days a week, even if you see a bump on the weekend. Just trust me on that. But be aware that sometimes that can be a thing. Sunday actually typically is a really good day. Frequency. Let's talk a little bit more about it. So we talked about what it is. It's the average amount of times that a single person sees your ad. But let's talk about what the numbers mean. Okay, cool. Everyone saw 5 times. Is that good? Is that bad? So look, if your frequency is too high, you do anything over 5. Again, not a goal. That's not a strict rule. We'll expand on it in a minute, but as a general rule, take that into consideration. Anything over 5, you should probably start expanding your audiences with broader targeting, so your ads are getting seen by new people instead of just the same person again and again and again and again. You can also, if you can't expand your audience, another way you can do things is freshen things up with new ad copy and new creative to fight against the negative effects of ad fatigue, right? So if someone's seeing your ad again and again and again, they're just getting sick of it, bored of it, and that means they're getting sick and bored of you and your business. You can compensate for that by writing new, fresh ad copy for them to read, writing with a new creative, and that can battle against ad fatigue's effects. Ad fatigue is just someone getting too tired or sick of seeing the same ad again and again. However, it might also just be time to change your whole offer. And as a gym, you can do that. You can hit them with a 4-week program. You can hit them with an 8-week program then to change things up. You can hit them with something for personal training, but then after that, for the next campaign, you're hitting them with like an offer for joining your classes or your open. Like, you can keep changing your offer. So even if you're showing your ads to the same people, at least they're seeing different offers. And there's more info here. It's a really great blog, johnloomer.com, about frequency. It goes into a lot of detail. So if you're looking for some extra reading on frequency, that's well worth reading. And this is actually directly from that blog as well. So it's just basically explaining frequency, because it's not strict. There's no like, oh, if it's over 5, it's bad. Sometimes you want lower frequency, and sometimes you want higher frequency. And on the left here in this image, you can see reasons and where you will have lower frequency, or you should have it. And then on the right is where you want high frequency. So if we talk about some of them, we won't spend too long on it, but if you're an established brand that's really, really well known, well, you don't want your frequency to be too high. But if you're a new brand trying to get your name out there, well, look, in the beginning stages, you definitely want your frequency to be high. The same if you have a low market share, you want to get out there and try to gain more of that market share. Purchase cycle. So for a gym, there's typically a short enough purchase cycle so we can see the ad and clicking the ad, and they could be in the gym with you the next day. Whereas, with a car, so it's okay to have a high enough frequency on these kind of people. Whereas, like, for example, if you were selling a car, a person normally sees an ad for a car and they buy that car within 1 to 2 years. So you don't want to be showing them ads every single day, So that's just something to understand. I know the car's not relevant to you, but it helps instill the idea of frequency, understanding of frequency into your head. And then so also message complexity. How difficult is it for your offer to be understood? If it's difficult to understand or there's a lot to it, you can show your ads to them, show your ads to people more often. But if it's really easy to understand what your offer is, then lower it, lower your frequency. So again, a couple other factors here. You can read them and they're kind of self-explanatory, but we'll move on for now. So ads optimization, cost per lead. When analyzing your cost per lead, you must take into consideration your closing ratio. You must also consider the lifetime value of your customer. This will allow you to figure out how much you can pay for a lead while still being profitable, right? Does that make sense? Like if your cost per lead was 10 euro per lead and you closed every lead you get, that's brilliant. Your cost per acquisition of a client then is also 10 euro if you close 100% of your leads. That's not possible, by the way. But let's say your closing ratio was 25%, but you still got 10 euro per lead. Well, now you actually need 4 leads to get a customer. So you need to spend 40 euro, 10 euro each per lead, to get 1 customer. So it's obviously eating your margins. The higher closing ratio, it affects your cost. You can cost per lead. It seems nicer then, right? You got to take these into consideration. Also, the lifetime value of your customer. You have to be putting all these numbers against each other. Is your customer worth 300 euro across a year, 1,000 euro over a year? That you can decide. The more you get from the customer, the more you can pay and afford to pay upfront with these leads. If your customer is worth 1,000 euro to you over the course of 12 months, well, it's no problem to spend 50 euro on it per lead. Now you can get leads much cheaper than that, but it's a big positive return on investment if you spend 50 euro per lead. Even if you had a 33% closing ratio and you need to pay 150 euro to acquire the customer, well, you spend 150 euro to get that customer, and the customer paid you 1,000 euro, of course, in the next 12 months. So always be looking into all these different figures. So if your cost per lead is too high, or you just want to lower it to increase your margins, there are a couple different strategies to try. You can start testing new styles of ad copy. You can start testing new creatives, new offers, and new audiences. One thing that's not mentioned here is you can also turn off your ads that are not performing well to help put the budget into ads that are performing well. That's a little bonus tip. So, cost per lead, create new audiences, e.g. make a video views campaign for brand awareness, right? So what I mean here is like by creating a new audience is not like going into your ads manager and literally just saying create audience and choosing Facebook engagement. I'm saying create new data for an audience. So whether that be get yourself an extra 5,000 Instagram followers, however way you do that. You now have an audience of new Instagram followers that is 5,000 people. And that's a little difficult to do. So here's an example. So go into the ads manager and create a whole separate campaign and choose video views instead of lead generation. So the whole point of the video views campaign is just to get brand awareness, but build up an audience of people that have watched your video so you can retarget them. So if you just shoot a promo video in your gym, whether it's professionally shot, whether it's just you talking to the camera, whatever it is, make an ad out of that inside of a video views campaign, put 100 euro into it, get a couple thousand views. And you can then make a custom audience based off people who've watched more than, let's just say 50% of your video, right? Let's say you got, 4,000 views, but only 1,000 people watched more than half of the video. Well, you can start retargeting those 1,000 people that were happy to stay around and watch your video about your gym, right? So that's a scenario you can do. And then, so you can target that custom audience with your lead gen campaign, and that might help you then start getting a cheaper cost per lead because you've initially warmed up those people with a video views campaign. And then you spent money on that video views campaign to get video views. It wasn't goal again customers. Your goal was to get views on your video. And then your lead generation campaign targets those people and your cost per lead should go down. So other things you can do is create a better lead form or funnel. So when people click on the ad, what's their experience like? You can change things there, and that can help dramatically. So that can have a big impact. You can not only create you can create a better lead form or funnel, but you can also create a simpler lead form or funnel, right? And the easier and quicker it is to fill out the form, the cheaper your cost per lead is going to be. But you got to be aware that your lead quality will also decrease if you make it easier to fill everything out. So cost per acquisition client. This is directly affected by the rest of your numbers. It's as simple as that, really. However, it is also directly affected by your sales skills. You know, the more leads you close, the cheaper your cost per acquisition is. So make sure to be continuously working on your sales skills. Make sure to follow up with your leads often and always go back to contact old leads. Don't think, oh, they signed up 2 months ago, they're probably not interested anymore. Go back and contact them. Don't forget about them. So also make sure to watch the Elite Gym sales and follow-up training. That is a bonus training you're getting on signing up for the Elite Gym Facebook ads course. This is typically a private training that only our clients get, but we're including that for you guys as well. So you can actually watch the Elite Gym sales and follow-up training, which will help a lot.